keeping us in good stead. Rupen Rajguru is with us, Head of Equity Investments and Strategy at Julius Baer. Rupen, good to have you with us here. Thank you for your time. You guys have coverage on a lot of mid caps, small caps, and you've got a strong team sort of doing that. HEG and Graphite, big gains in the last two sessions. Have you looked at the news flow, looked at the price action? Any thoughts at all, Rupen?
Yeah, hi. Good afternoon, Prashant. I would refrain from commenting on individual names. But if you see, the stocks which you mentioned are clearly beneficiary out of the action or some kind of retaliatory action which Chinese guys have taken against the US. So wherein they have said that they will not be exporting rare earth material and including graphites out there. And so clearly the Indian guys will be a natural beneficiary out of that, and hence we are seeing this momentum. So for last 2 days we are seeing that. But across the board, I think there will be a lot of these news flow which will come through and which will impact on a very short-term basis a lot of the stocks. So there will be a lot of noise with Donald Trump coming into the helm. But that's the broad perspective I can share regarding those names which you asked.
All right, just a couple of words on it, since this is a topic that I normally track with regard to graphite electrodes. China has banned the export of graphite, and that is natural graphite. The graphite electrode is the one that is manufactured. It's not the one that is mined. So the stocks are up in anticipation that there will be some kind of a lower supply that will come out of China. But my interactions with various industry experts say that actually the graphite electrode piece doesn't see much of a fillip with regard to this move, because China is banning the export of natural graphite, which is the one that is mined, not manufactured. Yes, the second half of the year will be better for graphite electrode companies, but I think, prima facie, based on the feedback that I've got, that these stocks have actually run ahead of themselves because they're up 25% in just 2-3 trading sessions on. So Prashant, that's the broad feedback that I've got. I'm still trying to get someone, from the industry who could come and talk, because the managements are not really talking. But prima facie, I think this is something we can work with, that the graphite that is being which is banned in terms of the export, that is the natural one. That's the one that's mined. The one that we are tracking is the manufactured one. So ideally, there should not be much of an impact. Prima facie feedback that I've got.
No, that's very important, Nigel, to put that on the board. So our viewers should take note that, market seems to be, with this kind of stuff, I mean, usually people are a little trigger happy. You act and then ask questions later. So as Nigel said, he is in touch with the companies and, analysts, industry experts, etc. We'll endeavor to get the managements on the air as soon as possible, and we'll ask them whether this really does make a difference to their business. At the margin, as Nigel said, maybe it doesn't have that much of an impact because of the difference that he was talking about. All right, well, that's HEG and Graphite, but for now they're both strongly up. PSU banks, of course, are the other place where you're seeing a lot of action. I mean, the PSU bank index is up 2%, and it's a long list of PSU individual names which are up between 5 and 10%. Out of these names, Rupen, first of all, any thoughts on what's happening? Is there a broad kind of trigger here? And how do you like this space?
So Prashant, if you see when market was witnessing correction probably a month and a half back, so a lot of these names got significantly corrected. And here, generally, the mood towards some of the narrative stocks, post the government change in Maharashtra has come back. So as a pack, we are seeing across the board momentum in PSUs. Purely from numbers perspective, you see the PSU banks numbers were not bad. And hence, post the correction clearly on valuation, a lot of the PSUs are definitely looking attractive. So from our perspective, from a PSU banking pack, as a category, we like a large private sector bank, but amongst the PSU, the top two banks is something which we like, because here we have valuation comfort, and purely also on the credit cycle side, these guys have performed relatively better. So in that sense, post-correction valuation comfort and not a bad credit cycle they are seeing, and hence we are constructive, but we'll stick to the top two names out there.
Rupen, hi, afternoon. Can you take us through your call? You tactically prefer low-ticket consumer discretionary items versus the affluent consumption. What are the signs that you've picked up which makes you tactically positive?
Yeah, hi, afternoon, Rima. And since we live in the world of narratives, and I think one of the narratives Prashant said about the graphite, which has probably found fancy. So the other narrative, and probably we are clearly seeing visible signs, is the pickup in the rural economy. If you see one of the clear template which all the state governments are now following are the income transfer scheme. I think as we speak, if I'm not mistaken, 17 to 18 states are following that, and probably with the election results, more and more will follow. So roughly 2 odd lakh crores worth of these welfare schemes is what across the board states have done. So that's why we probably will be seeing rural economy coming back. And while inflation has been high, which we believe will come off, so what will happen? There will be a potent combination of the mass consumption which was suffering. We will see that coming back, and hence some of the low-ticket discretionary items will see a comeback. So it can be footwear, it can be luggage, it can be movie exhibition, it can be value retailing. Because the entire sector, the sectors which I just mentioned, have had a terrible last few quarters, and probably we might see a uptick in next 1 or 2 quarters. And the stocks probably have done nothing. So from that perspective, we will see definitely the stocks will be into reckoning for next few quarters, and hence it's a tactical call.
Okay. Rupen, hi, great to have you on. So just on the financials piece, just want to understand what are you most bullish on right now? Lenders, non-lenders, and within non-lenders, I think the hottest space is insurance. There is never a day that we don't have fresh news or potential changes for insurance players, right? Yesterday it was about GST. Today there's been some buzz in the market that maybe some insurers are thinking of hiking term policy premiums. Your thoughts? A specific word on insurance, and then anything else that you're willing to buy now in financials.
So hi, afternoon, Surbhi. So you're right. The not only last few days, but over last few years, insurance as a sector has been, dealing with a lot of regulatory changes, which in a way I think it is good, because whenever a sector has a big runway for growth and huge size of opportunity and under penetration across the board, which is growing very fast, there are always certain practices which are not probably beneficial to the customers. So hence regulators have come out with various measures towards that. Having said that, if you step back and look through the insurance, and if I first want to talk about life insurance companies, those companies did not, from a pure stock market perspective, they all got listed 5-6 years back, and valuations were pretty high on price to embedded value. They were earlier quoting at 3-4 times, and now went down to 1-2 times. So on valuation now they are reasonable. The big story still remains, and the growth will definitely be seen out there. So amongst life insurance, what we like companies which have a good distribution network, which has across channels distribution, which also are very innovative on the product side. And I would say some of the top private sector companies kind of fit into that. The other segment, which is health insurance, while some of last few days, because of the news flow around GST, it has been in reckoning. But if you look through, still health insurance again is a segment which is hugely under penetrated, and we believe that there is again, I think post-COVID, the awareness towards health insurance has significantly gone up, and now with all, probably it's going through some readjustment from the overall pricing perspective. But once that stabilizes, I would say some of the largest company out there is probably available at a valuation which is much cheaper than the other listed one. And I think that would be something which we like. And just to conclude on the entire lending piece, so as I said, we like large private sector banks, and we have seen some of the largest private sector banks probably slowly and steadily is kind of moving up. And what we like in the scenario in which where we are seeing a little bit of credit cycle coming through, companies which have good underwriting skills. So some of the NBFCs also, some of the large NBFC which probably has not performed, and I think what we believe now will stage a comeback. So some of the NBFCs in a rate cut cycle also relatively NBFCs are better placed because their liabilities get repriced quickly, and hence they can actually see a margin expansion.
Okay, all right. Hi, Rupen. Good afternoon and good to see you, Ben. Rupen, what about the telecom space? Now, I understand that there was a big seller in Bharti Airtel. And that got cleared out just in the past week. And post that oversupply overhang, that got cleared out. Then you had the stock that popped up, I think, 4-5%. But you believe still good times ahead for the telecom space? How would you play it? The core player or the one that is trying to keep up and trying to continue to make it a three-player market?
Hi, afternoon, Nigel. And here we will clearly stick with the core player. The simple reason being, if you see from industry perspective, they are having one of the best probably balance sheet structure for last almost 1.5 decades. And I think we all know the intensity of capex is going to come down. I think majority of capex is done. And the pricing, what we are seeing, we have seen one set of tariff hike, and probably we will see more in next year and a half. So what will happen there, Nigel, is some of these companies will generate huge amount of cash flow. On an average, like 30,000 plus crores of cash flow, the core company will generate out there, which I think is really huge. And I think, as I said, we have not seen this kind of good balance sheet for these companies. And apart from that, there are option value coming from enterprise, and I think data center can also be a big option value coming through for some of these companies. And of course, the impending IPO of the largest player, which either IPO or demerger or whatever form it will come. So that will also lead to some excitement around that sector. So yeah. So from our perspective, I think it is one of the core theses which we like, and it is part of the core holding. And even from current level, from next 2 to 3 year perspective, we are positive.
Thank you very much, Rupen, for joining in. Another call of his is also tactically just profit booking or reducing weight in capital market intermediaries. But we'll get to that call another day. By the way, for the markets, some of these consumer staples, FMCG names, ITC, HUL, Britannia. These are stocks where we've seen some selling pressure. Britannia, for instance, is now at the day's low. It's a fall of more than 1%. So in the last 10 minutes, that's where you have seen some change. Get into a break. On the other side, we'll get you a few BTST calls from our technical expert.